Okay, so welcome back once again. This is Brian Tarian from the Disability Digest. Hi, Maris. Hi, Rodney. Hi. Thanks for the emojis. So today's event, we have quite a selection of questions that were written in. So I'm going to go through those and provide resources and directions as best I can. And some of them I don't have answers to. So maybe you folks do, and you can join in the comments. So again, welcome to the Disability Digest. If you're a member here, thank you for tuning into the event. If you're not a member here, you can join us for free. You get educational information like this, and then an ongoing series of updates, and we kind of how to get and or maximize your disability benefits. Hi Peggy, welcome. Hi Charlotte. So first of all, let's get started in kind of random order. This is a question in from Vivki. When I turn 65, what happens to my disability? Two-part, and then there's somebody else in the family that is not on disability, and the question is, can somebody apply for disability if they're 65 years of age? So, two-part answer to this. When you reach full retirement age, your disability check amount will remain the same. The Social Security Disability Program is, one way to look at it is you get your full retirement check amount when you are approved for your Social Security disability. So it converts to a full retirement in language, but the check amount remains the same. And you can apply for Social Security disability up until your full retirement age. For most now, it's 66 and a half. 66 years and 6 months old. So, second question from Linda. I haven't had insurance, couldn't afford to go to the doctor when I needed it. Can I get disability without all those years of medical records and diagnosis going back to 1992? Degenerative disc disease, fibromyalgia, muscle and nerve damage, etc., etc. So, two parts to this. One is it's really difficult to get a disability case approved without medical evidence, because the rules of the game in simplistics are you have conditions that have put limitations on your body that prevent you from working, and they're being treated by a doctor, not a nurse practitioner or somebody else, and you're not able to work. So if you have the conditions and they haven't been treated, and you're going to Social Security and you're asking for your benefits, they're going to probably say, and they have commonly, that, geez, we can't, we won't approve you because you haven't been treated. We don't know. If your conditions were treated, you probably could work. So the other part of that is, I have known cases and people that I know in the disability world, attorney, non-attorneys, that have gotten cases approved for individuals with this or a similar situation that haven't been to the doctors recently, but perhaps they were treated 7 to 10 years ago, and during that time that they were being treated, there's substantial medical evidence that supports that they were disabled and they were insured for disability at that time. Those cases are not easy to win. You need somebody who knows how to do it and is good at it, but they have been done. So there is some optimism for Linda. All right, moving on. So when I'm done here today, I'm going to put in the show notes and Facebook, YouTube, etc., I will put responses to this and resources that I reference. So the next one is, I'm on disability, and my question is, my youngest son is 25. He's pretty much given up. He has got no will to live, and the mom feels like she's the live-in nurse. This is Peggy. Are there any programs which could be provided for him that, willing to pay for? Anything I can do. This is the best place where I've seen some results on this. And the organizations are called Centers for Independent Living. and I'm just going to pull up the page that we have here. This is a resource that we profile commonly, and we use it to help members with a variety of different resources. But let me first explain what they are. They're government organizations that are funded, but they actually work. They're run usually by disabled and seniors that service the same market. And they have, they're a great place to go for treatment options, low cost, no cost treatment options for people trying to get their disability approved, financial assistance, legal aid, housing counseling, but they also have support groups. And every organization, not every, but the organizations are different. So in the show notes, you'll see here there'll be a link to the Centers for Independent Living with a video that explains what they do, much like I am now. And right below that, there'll be a map. So you need to zero in on the map and find your local organization, contact them. And like here in Vermont, because of our climate, they have like fuel assistance, which is a common. They have Catholic Charities is associated with them, Meals on Wheels, and other support services. But that same kiosk of services is not the same in Tampa, Florida, for example. So you need to contact your local one. Here's a tip. If you're following this and you're going to contact your Center for Independent Living, it's a competitive environment, and if you want to get somebody's attention, you need to really be organized. So for example, when we send people there for housing information, we ask them to have a plan in place, like where they want to live, where they don't want to live in the area, how much they can spend, how much they can really spend, what they need for special accommodations in the house or the apartment. Can they live on the first floor? Do they have to live on the first floor? Could it be second, third, or fourth? Stuff like that. Short, 2 sentence or less explanation. Hi Paul, welcome, thanks for joining. So make sure that you're prepared, and you need to be prepared, polite, and persistent. Okay? That's my tip on that. So yeah, for sure, I would reach out to the local Center for Independent Living and do that. Here's one I have no idea about. Maybe somebody else out there can help me and put some comments in the show notes. One I called MTM, which I don't know its reference. This is from Carolyn. On August 16th, to get trip log numbers for 2 doctor's appointments next week. They were both denied. Evidently, Medicaid is an ID has implemented on day 1 called a no warning that members must go to the closest physician. My question is, does this apply to patients who are in the middle of treatment with specialists who are experts in the area of fields? I have no idea. I was not aware that there's something. I mean, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a lawyer, but I know how to help people get their Social Security disability benefits approved and maximize them, but these items on the outside just haven't been asked that question. So anybody can help? That would be great. All right, so let's see. Tony, here's help getting pain management where I live in Washington. Moderate aging physical disability. Here's another one. I'm not a doctor, but I talk to a lot of members, and there's 2 things that I hear a lot lately. One is water and one is weed. And here's what I mean by that. Let's take let's take the water one first. If you're approved for disability and you have a Medicare Advantage plan, which most do, those Medicare Advantage plans commonly have a silver sneakers program associated with it. That if you have it, sometimes you don't know about it, or if you're on a Medicare Advantage plan or not on one, you can likely find one in your area that you can get on, and you can go to a local gym or fitness center and that accepts the silver sneakers membership. It's totally free. And it's a lot easier than jumping in the lake. Warmer too, so you can take advantage of that. That's part of your Medicare product. So I would definitely do that for water therapy. I hear people get great results. Fibromyalgia, lupus, other degenerative disc disease, just general discomfort. The water therapy is fantastic. The second one that I hear a lot is CBD. and medical marijuana. So I don't know what your personal interest or your risk tolerance is. I'm not endorsing it. I'm just saying I hear it a lot. And I understand that works really, really good for people. I've had extensive conversations, really curious about this because I see this as a trend that's going up. So those are 2 tips for you. I don't know where you're going to get Washington State. I don't know what the regulations are out there. Okay. Next one, moving on from Mitch. Why can't I get affordable housing? I'm on disability. I can't afford apartments that are over $1,000. I cannot seem to get help or questions answered. Thank you. Tall order. Affordable housing in safe neighborhoods. It's tough. Let's just tell you. But here's a few tips for you. First thing is, most people that we talk to are leaving money on the table. They're spending, overspending, maybe it's just a little bit, but they're overspending on their health care. That's the way it is. And maybe if you think, oh, you know, we'll ask them, you have copays? Yeah, I have $20 in copays. How much are you paying for your medications? Oh, I'm not paying too much, maybe $30 a month for my medications. Oh, all right, when was the last time you checked your, you had your Medicare reviewed? You know, probably 2 or 3 years ago. It's very common. So now what happens in these environments, and I keep coming back to healthcare because that's where there's biggest opportunity that I see where you can save money, and you can put that money back into your housing. So I have other tips on this too. But if you can eliminate your $20 copays and your $30 in medications, and every year these Medicare Advantage companies are getting more and more aggressive to attract business because it's a very popular area of the insurance industry. They're putting enticements in, and one of them is called a Plan B buyback, where they'll actually pay for your Medicare Part B, the $135.50 that's taken out of most checks. And some pay $60 a month. I've seen them up to $100, $110. So if you can make those 3 moves or part of them, you can put $100, $200 back in your pocket, a little bit more money for you in housing. Other than that, you know, the other housing tips that we have, use the Centers for Independent Living for sure. There's housing counselors at most. Talked a little bit about that prior in this program. And then there is another tip that members have taken advantage of, which is called the home sharing program, and that's also available. We have a course here on home sharing that helps you understand what it is, how you can get involved, or if you have a home and you're tight on cash and you've got a room or a part of your house, it's a great way to pick up some extra money. So home sharing is different than putting an ad on Craigslist. There's organizations out there that pre-screen. They check people out, background checks extensively, so that you reduce the risk. I will say, I'm not going to say you're eliminated. So I would explore all of those because, again, it's a difficult situation to fix, and it's been that way since I started doing this work in 2006. So, all right, hope that helps. I'm currently getting, this is from Kimberly, I'm currently getting $2,139 in Social Security disability benefits. I had a good work history. Can I get more than that? The short answer is, apart from your cost of living increase, the sometimes annual cost of living increase, also known as a COLA, no. Last year it was 2.8%. I don't know what it's projected to be for 2020, but it doesn't really keep up with the pace of inflation. So my tips for housing and where to look to save money is on your health cost and other costs. And look at supplementing your income if you can. So Paul, you have a question here. I'm going to try to get to that in the time that I have, for sure. I thank you for putting it in. Let me just see what you have here. Person is filing annually for taxes and they are below the federal poverty level. I've got to see more. I'm doing this on my iPhone. Okay. Oh, all right. So if you're filing your taxes and you're below the poverty level, That would make sense to me. Do you qualify for dual eligibility? This is how we look at it, and then there's an easy way to find out. If your household, if your disability check, if it's just you, is below $1,500, then it's likely that you would qualify to be dual eligible, and you could get your Medicare Part B eliminated. If you're over that, then probably not. And there's also, I think if you look at a household of like $2,300 in income, if you have a spouse that works. So we have directions here to find out if you qualify. You can go to Medicare.gov. There's a section on there called Extra Help. There's a bullet list of items that you need to do to fill out and send in, or you can contact Social Security, but it's easier to do it online. If you're a member here, just contact support, ask for extra help, and they'll do it. Or put a comment on this video. So anyway, great question. All right, so let's see. Here's a couple questions about reviews. One's from Donald and one's from Gail, and they're pretty much the same. Can I get a review on my disability check? I've been out 49 years and still suffering from XYZ disease. And Gail's is SSDI still requires updates every few years. I have fibromyalgia and I'm told it'll never get better. Can they just designate me as totally disabled? Hey Kurt, welcome. So I don't know of a way to get your reviews changed from like every 3 years to permanent, with the exception of you had a review done and the review changes the status of your reviews. So I don't know. If anybody knows this, how this is done, or if it can be done, then again, love to hear it from you. Here's a few tips for you though. About 10% of disability recipients are getting reviewed, so it is, it's considerable. It's possible you'll get reviewed. But if you follow like the tips that we have put out to our members to how to keep your benefits, it's really a non-issue. It's a short paperwork process to do it. And in my opinion, it would be less work for you to just do the paperwork in the event that you have a review, rather than try to go out and work with Social Security to get them to do something that I don't know if anybody's had it done or what the process is. And maybe that's just me because I don't know the process and I'm thinking it's confusing. So some of the tips to keep your benefits are read that letter and follow the rules. Simple one. You need to stay in treatment. Make sure that you're being treated, because the rules again are you have conditions, are being treated by a doctor, and you can't work. So you need to stay in treatment. And then the second tip is really be the best you that you can be. And an example of doing that is using the water therapy, and there's that whole fitness membership, and maybe this doesn't apply to people. I understand conditions are so severe that you can't do that. But if you can walk or feel better or do anything or be in counseling or use some of the sources at Centers for Independent Living, you can show this and reflect this in your review, and it's going to show Social Security that, hey, listen, this person is trying, they're doing something, they're just not out there collecting. And the last tip is don't do anything stupid. I mean, what happens to people where they commonly get in trouble that I see, and they come here in situations you just can't fix, they're like, man, I totally forgot I could make money over, the $10,000 a year and keep my benefits, and they went out and they worked like 30 grand, and they also cashed their Social Security checks, and they can't figure out why Social Security wants their money back, right, when they went off benefits. So, all right, so that's a few tips. And let's see, we have this next question on tap here is from Skylar. So this is a very common question just asked in this format. I have multiple problems, gout, lymphoma, nose bleeding several times a day, and other issues. How quickly can I get approved? Well, if you do it right, this is the best answer I have. If you do it right, you can get approved as soon as possible. So there's a lot of variables here. I mean, age, what are your medical records like? Is going to determine it. What have you done for work in the past? Those are some key components. And then how you put your application together. Those are some really important things. Like what people commonly do, like this communication right here, for those of you that are going through the process, is going to get your case, in my opinion, of doing this since 2006 and seeing like 10,000 cases closely go through. A case like this will likely get denied because this person is communicating their conditions and not their limitations. So if you think of it from Social Security's standpoint, they're trying to figure out if you can't work. And there could be two people with gout. One that has gout that they're able to walk around with and they're fine. The other one that has gout that can't walk more than 10 steps and stand more than 10 minutes and, you know, has worked 20 years on an assembly line, taking pencils off the assembly line, putting them into a box, putting the box back on the assembly line, right? So there's just so many variables. So communicate your limitations is really a key step here. Yeah, and if you need help going through, that's what we do. We help people. We've got a do-it-yourself or done-for-you strategy. It's no cost. It's helped thousands of people get approved. Social Security Disability Approval course has just gotten great results lately. It's put together with industry experts, attorney, non-attorney disability representatives, ex-Social Security employees. We get lots of feedback and testimonials from our members and how they got approved. Put it all into a course in audio and video segments, and it's delivered to you what to do, what not to do, how to fill out the forms. And that's, if you've been to our site and you've seen the reviews, that's how people are getting it. So success leaves clues, and that's what's in the course. So Skylar, love to help you out with that. No charge, like a radio or TV station. All right, how to get my insurance premium down. I pay hundreds of dollars a month, which is on a fixed income is a lot. So what do I do? Was on SSI and I was paying $50 a month. It's not real clear where this individual is at, but the only insurance premium that I know of if for somebody that's on disability is your Medicare Part B. Unless you didn't take an Advantage plan and you're getting a Medicare supplement, then you could be paying for that. So the key here is going to be the same. You know, find somebody to do the review for you, review your Medicare options. You can find licensed insurance agents that do this work at no cost to you because they're paid by insurance companies. That's a good resource. So you can go to medicare.gov and do a plan search. Put in your area code, and then you've got I will do a video that shows more about how to do this so you can do some preliminary yourself. There's a lot of work involved in it, and if you can find a good insurance agent, it would help you at least see some of the options, because like populated areas, even like a Baltimore, Maryland, is going to have like 20 plans. Places like Dallas, Texas, and they have like 35 different plans to choose from. So what do you do, right? Because you've got to get your doctors in there. You want to have your medications taken care of. So I can see why there's some resistance for people to go out and do it, but if you can do it yourself, great. Get some help for second opinion, or just find somebody to do it for you. All right, let's see here. Okay, where can I get some help for business training? I don't know what type of business training, but Voc Rehab is really the go-to place. If you've got a business or work at home, like we have, most of this business is run by people that are on disability. And so when they start working here, and they might need a new phone, they might need a new computer, they have a plan in place. Voc Rehab understands what they're doing. And so you can get something funded. If you just are getting started and you don't really have any revenue or a plan or anything in place, it's going to be really difficult. You need to get some traction, because these organizations are paid to get you in a revenue positive position. And if you're not, they're going to save their funds. Just my assessment. They're going to save their funds for somebody else. That's the way it works. If somebody receives a cash, this is from Anna, a cash award, do they have to report it to SSI? I don't know if somebody won the lottery here or what. But the answer is, well, you have to do whatever's appropriate for your taxes. But for the question of, is this going to have a negative impact on your Social Security disability benefits based on what you told me? No. Last week in this event, we talked about gainful activity, which is work that you, or effort that you do to put into getting income, right? So like a job. You get paid $10 an hour to go work at the local store. You work 4 hours, you get $40. Gainful activity, cash out. Easy transaction to monitor. There's other income that's passive income. It's from real estate, from insurance, royalties, right? And this income, which was a lump sum from something, which sounds really good. But this would be passive income. It wouldn't be, you'd be subject to the taxes. And I'm not a tax guy, so, right? Just full disclaimer here. But from what you're telling me, it's not going to have an impact on your benefits, based on my understanding, my opinion. All right. I'm still working. This is from Sherry. I can't afford to stop working and apply for disability. Totally get it. Yeah, I mean, the disability program, if you're working even, you know, part-time, you can work and apply and earn up to $1,080. But if you're earning even like $400 or $500 and you're over 50 with a solid work history, we worked with somebody that was 59 and a half, and she had a part-time job of like $400 a month. Great medical. Really couldn't get her approved. It's tough. So if you're going to go through the approval process, my take is, and you know, again, this is just what I see, it's really best to just totally stop working. So that doesn't help this situation out with Sherry, but it puts it in realistic perspective, what's going on. So what my advice is right now is to get your case in really super good shape so that when you get approved, you have an awesome chance of getting approved at the initial application rather than just stopping work and taking a wild ass guess like a lot of people do. So the best thing you can do right now is work on your treatment, make it consistent, get everything diagnosed, and understand through the course that I'm going to put in the show notes here how to talk to your doctors and what to communicate to your doctors in your typical 12-minute visit so you get your limitations into your medical records. And this basically forces the hand of doctors, and they don't know about it, to put your limitations, why you can't sit, stand, bend, stoop, sleep, all that stuff into your medical records. So when Social Security looks at them, you're going to stand a better chance of getting approved quickly. So that's an interview that I did with Carl Osterhout, who has been contributing to the Disability Digest, attorney Carl Osterhout, for years. And great interview. It's worked fantastic for people. So that's what you should definitely put on your to-do list now. So here's one from Marcia. I submitted appeals counsel file in October, and she didn't hear back until May. It's like 7 months, 8 months, and she had to get a government official involved here, a congressman involved, to find out what was going on in the case, and they finally said they're going to start working on it. So let me just first explain for those of you that are out there that hopefully you don't know about what appeals counsel is because you never had to go there, and you don't have to go there. But in the unfortunate event that you do, this is what it is. If your case gets denied at a hearing, at a Social Security hearing, it didn't get approved at initial, it didn't get approved at reconsideration if you have that level of appeal in your state. Hi, Cheryl. and it gets denied by a judge, then you can still appeal it. It's called the appeals council. It's basically a team is looking at the judge's work to see if there is any wrongdoing, and they're going to try to turn it over. Very few cases get approved here, but it's a necessary step. So usually you see like 6 to 8 months you'll get a decision back from the appeals council, and these folks hadn't started working on it until like the 8th month. Cases get lost and things get lost at Social Security, and that's what I see, not just at this level but at other levels, and it's not common, but it happens. So the best advice I can give people is to stay on top of it, and I would have done this earlier, understood when the decision was expected on the early end, and then got somebody involved earlier. But you know, you might have saved 3 or 4 months. But if you are working through the process right now and you are just applied or reconsideration or waiting for a hearing, then use your online Social Security account to track your case. They do this really well. It's got a little bar on it, shows what's going on, the last activity, and it saves you from getting on the phone. And if you've done this with Social Security, you probably know it takes forever, right? You just log in, boom, and track your case. So, okay. All right, so I got a few more minutes left for a meeting and a bunch of questions left here. Let me see what else we have here. Ticket to Work program from Juliana. How does it work? Pros and cons. My take on the Ticket to Work program until I met a member named Edwin is I had zero confidence until I met Edwin about 10 days ago, 2 weeks ago. But here's my take on the Ticket to Work program. It's not successful. Statistically, there's different reports, anywhere from 10, 12% of the people that get into that succeed. And in my opinion, the reason is that it's not set up properly to get people from a state of being on disability benefits up to full speed employment. And that's really what the program is targeted to doing, is to making it, eliminating the risk for you to try to work. And if you are not able to pull it off, then you can get back on the benefits. There's a bunch of other things, like with Edwin, he found a Ticket to Work program that, because he was working and had a job, then he went and found a Ticket to Work program. And they paid him $250 a month or something like that. The interview will be in the show notes. And he already had the job. So, I mean, if you are going down this route, there's different Ticket to Work providers that you can go out and shop, and some might provide back to work resources, and others might just provide cash, which would be kind of cool. So here's my take. If you are thinking about going back to work, the highest level of success that I've seen is take it step by step. If you're going to do something part-time, you're not a Ticket to Work candidate from my understanding of the program. So find something to do part-time. Maybe even before that, do some volunteer work where you can, you know, if you haven't worked, get yourself in a situation where your time is committed. You have to be somewhere, do something, perform, and it's not going to be a real deal killer. If you don't, then you can build on that. If you're working, find something where you can make $1, then concentrate on making $2, etc. In the world that I live in here in the Disability Digest, most people are interested in finding something to do that is from home, it's flexible, they can work and keep their benefits, they can get all the tax advantages, they can take the time off when they want, right? So that's my take on the Ticket to Work program. Next question from William. Why do I keep getting turned down because of my work history? This work history thing, I'm gonna use a new word for it, is in preventing people from getting disability benefits. I think it's an epidemic that people don't understand the importance of a consistent work history relative to their Social Security disability or their Social Security funding. Social Security is a retirement, and a lot of people use, I want to retire at some point in time, but they don't keep in mind that just a consistent earning pattern of some money, even if it's only $5,000-7,000 a year, is going to be much more advantageous than waiting and waiting and waiting for 2 or 3 years for that killer job. So what's happened, I expect, in this situation is somebody's worked, had to stop for health reasons, stopped cold turkey for maybe 5 or 6 years, went back, or had low earnings during that period. And now they're not eligible for their Social Security disability. So as a general rule, if you've worked 50% or more of the last 10 years, then you'd qualify for a check, just from the work perspective in funding the Social Security. So this could be your situation. You could have a fantastic work history and be 59 years old, but stopped working when you were 54, and try to file for Social Security disability, and you're out of range. You're outside that 5-year window. And so your disability check is not available. You could get something at age 62 based on your, how much you made. But you want to, financially, you want to avoid taking that check, really, if you can. So that's the deal with work credits. So here's the last one. I received a lot of these, not a lot, probably 4 or 5. Please, please, please tell me if you're going to have another one of these. I can't make this event. Well, if you're here, great. Thank you for attending. Appreciate your time and attendance. I'm sure there's something else you could be doing today. I am honored that you're here listening to the answers to most of these questions, except for 2. But when we have events like this, they are recorded, and the replays are put out now on YouTube and Facebook and soon to be other social media channels, so you can take advantage of the replay. So if you're listening and you're a member here, this will kind of give you an idea how you could use your membership. The answers that have been asked, if you have answers and you can't find information here, you can reply to the emails. You can come to these events to get answers to some of the commonly asked questions that are there. If you're not a member here, you can join us. There's no charge. It's like a radio or TV station where there's ads and sponsors that we have that fund this, so the membership is free. And we provide you with the content and answers to help you get and or maximize your disability benefits. So that's what we do here. So try to have these once a week on Wednesdays, unless there's something that prevents me from, going on in the world out there that prevents me from being here. So I thank you again for your time, for your attention. If there's comments, especially for those 2 questions that I couldn't hit, if you know anything about that, it's kind of like detective work, I would appreciate your input. Thanks again, everybody. Make it a great day. It's been Brian from the Disability Digest. Till the next